Brew Tubers, Wide Angle Lens Brew Day. Making a Pilsner, and I'm going to do a protein rest. Let me shut that off. I'm going to heat that up just to reset temp, which reminds me. Reset temp, 148. Okay, so I'm at my protein rest temp. The grains aren't in, so once the grains go in, I should drop to about 122 is what I'm shooting for. Yeah, so I've never done a protein rest, ever. And because the grains are highly modified, they say you don't need it. But Paul Wicksteed was a huge fan of the protein rest. So I'm doing a Pilsner. It's a new recipe that I created. I'm using a different yeast. I'm using the Pilsen yeast, my yeast. I did a starter. All RO water. I'm doing my water additions now. It's going to be in the new lagering chest freezer. I'll raise it up to 55, but I've got my temp controller set up. I'll get an STC 1000. I'll get one of those later, but that should get me going. So my water calculations will be weighed out here, although I am not going to need this. I will use a little stabilizer. Pilsen water profile. It's pretty low. This. I'm actually going to have to add maybe a couple parts per million of good lord, sodium. Yeah, look at that. 8 mag of 6 sulfate. 24, and I'm below here on my ratio, so I've still got to play with these numbers a little bit. Right. So yeah, I see what I was doing wrong. I actually had to go into the point ranges. I'm really not adding a whole lot to this RO water profile, but I am going to have to add some acid to the mash. It's going to be a little high. All right, calibrating my buffer solution. It's at room temperature. I did adjust the meter already. It did need adjustment. It was at 6.5. Yep, there's some flake maize in there if you're wondering what those little yellow chunks are. Just trying to give it a little more. Dropkick neat. It's like 10-10, maybe 10-11. Need is I transferred to tertiary because it was sitting on hops for 5 days. I'm going to cold crash it, throw some gelatin on it, and I'm going to bottle that one. Got my protein rest set. Fell in pretty much where I wanted it to. So we'll protein rest for 20 minutes. I'm already ready on my strike water. I'll start ramping up. I'll flip the pump on as soon as it's ready, and ramp up to mash temp. I'll give myself 148 Fahrenheit on the mash, and starting now. After a little bit longer of a protein rest, I was not paying attention, and I got a 25-minute protein rest, and it took 10 minutes to get from 122, 124 to 140. My starter. It was about 1,000, but it settled down so nicely that I ended up pouring off wort off the top and left the slurry, and now I started stirring the slurry, so it is still really a one liter starter. Let's check the pH. Might not be enough in there, and I should have strained that, but I had to get it to cool down. 5.6, a little high. So I'm going to have to acidify that mash a little. Although it's still early, it's just 5 minutes into the mash. I'll give it another 10 minutes and then I'll check it again. If it's still a little high, I'll acidify the mash a little. I'm calling it Pilsner Americana, but it's just kind of an amalgamation of a different Pilsner styles. You know, we use a little corn here in the U.S. or maize, only because we're just trying to get a more golden color to it. So that's the only real reason I'm calling it Pilsner Americana. Well, I'm only 30 minutes into the saccharification rest this time. Protein rest was done, it's successful. Went over about 5 minutes. Okay, so we're just about here at 60 minutes. Fly sparging, so I got to get it up there, 172. Oh, I had a question. So when I was making a larger starter, I burned some wort on the bottom of this, and there was a lot more than that. I got a majority of it out, but how do you guys get that off, and have you ever done that before? I'd like to get the rest of that off. So I'm changing my valve from the recirculating drop to first runnings. And at the same time, I've switched it down there, turn my elements off, and now I'm going to pump over my fly sparge amount, keeping track of how many gallons I put in. And as that's fly sparging over the top, I have it coming into the pot. I don't batch sparge anymore, it just takes too long. Efficiency suffers a little, but I just adjusted my system efficiency. I don't care. It's about time for me rather than efficiency. Nice light Pilsner color. I haven't got my hot blocker yet, Tony. I'm still using the screen today. It wasn't in time, unfortunately. But and I am doing a 10-minute whirlpool before cool down. And I don't care if I fly sparge too fast, because the Blickman auto sparge will slow it down for me, so I don't sparge over the top. Not recirculate for 45 minutes. Yeah, about 45 minutes. And the actual... Oh. Can't see it. 5 minutes into the boil. Now it's back down just a bit. I don't know. Yeah, maybe a little. First top drop. 60 minutes. 30 minutes into the boil. And there we go. Oh yeah. Are you kidding me? That smells amazing. 20 minute left in the boil drop. That's come down quite a bit. I love the smell of beer being made. Nutrient and Warflock tablets. Okay, let's kill that boil in 90 minutes. I was surprised the gas lasted that long. Let's get this on. Whirlpool the other way, I don't care. There we go. There. And the whirlpool has begun. And there it goes. Okay. I'm going to get my hops. An anger. Potato, potato. See, the whirlpool works. I haven't started stirring it yet. And round and round she goes. At the same time, I'm sanitizing this plate chiller because it's like I can't even leave my hand on it. Get that all the way in the grass. Now we are chilling. And it just started. That was a little above 180. And we're off to the races. It goes down quick. It's crazy. That's 70 degrees. I'll put it in the fridge. I'll pitch anyway, and that'll be okay. Because the yeast now is probably at room temperature, which is pretty close to 70 degrees, so it won't shock it. Oh, I collected fairly well. All that hot goodness left behind. Does look like I made myself an IPA, doesn't it? Or IPL. It's spilling out the top. Okay, stop that. I'm going to pitch the yeast, put it in the lager fridge, and finish cleaning up. Don't you wish you were like I Dream of Jeannie or something and you could just have her blink?